Hey guys, it's Maymay, and before I get started, I want to say first I owe you an apology. I totally forgot that some of you guys that watch my scripture art journaling videos are not members of the Facebook group about the art journal. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been putting the scriptures up over there and pausing on my journal entries because I have had things happening in my family that have kind of kept me from doing that. Nothing bad. I just had my kids home from Texas for a while. The week before, I had some other stuff going on, so it's kind of put me behind. And I should have remembered. I totally forgot that some of you guys just watch on the video. So I apologize. And from now on, if I ever have to skip a week of filming, I'll make sure I do a video to tell you what the scripture is. But we're going to do something. And at first I felt really guilty about this. And then I started thinking, you know what? I am sure I'm not the only person who gets very busy in life and has to kind of postpone things, but I still want to stick with them. And so I have found a way to make my weeks when I don't have as much time a little bit quicker. So here's what I'm going to do. These are, this is actually week 18 scripture, which is Romans 8:28. All things work together for good to them that love God. Now I like to extend that out and say, and are called according to his purpose. I know that from my own memorization. However, I just don't have the time to go back. It's so terrible. I feel so guilty. But I haven't had the time to go back and do full pages like I did here where I spent a whole lot of time on this. But I think this is a beautiful scripture and I just found it online already done in this pretty digital design. So I'm going to put this in on this side. And I think, like when you look back on this, I'm going to go, I wonder why I did this one like this. And then I'll think, oh, my kids were home that week, or we had something happen and I'll remember. And I could even put a note. But the good thing is this, I'm not going to skip them. I'm going to get them done, and I'm going to keep with my commitment to myself to do this, but I'm going to do it in a little faster way. So if, I apologize to you guys if you're a little disappointed in me and having to kind of do this an easier, faster way. But sometimes life gets in the way and we get busy and things happen. So I'm going to give myself a break. How about that? So this one, what I'm doing is, I just printed this on printer paper. And I'm using some of my sticky tape, and I'm going to put this in the book with this. I would use wet glue, but this is just printer paper, and sometimes wet glue can show through real bad. And I just thought since I did this on just plain old white paper, I'll just use sticky tape to put it down. Let's put some in the middle here. And get this guy ready to stick down. Now, I want to ask you a question. You can talk about this in the comment section with me. Do you ever get really, really busy? Do you ever get to the point where you feel like you're really kind of putting God on the back burner? Sometimes I do. I'm just going to be honest. Sometimes it's rough. A couple weeks ago, our pastor, which I thought this was amazing, he was preaching and he said, I'm going to make a confession to you. And he said, sometimes I don't feel like, doing the Christian thing. Sometimes I don't feel like going to church. Sometimes I don't feel like making hospital calls. And he's like, but it's not about the feel. It's about doing what we're supposed to do and, for the right reason, even if we don't feel like it. And I thought, wow, how brave of him to say that to our church, just to say, sometimes I don't feel like it. But then I thought, you know what? He's human just like we are. And sometimes we don't feel like it, We just don't happen to be a pastor. Or some of us might be. I'm not. But I am a Sunday school teacher, and sometimes I don't feel like being a Sunday school teacher. But, it's not about feeling like it. So it's about getting the job done. Look, I got a wrinkle. I'll just push that out. Maybe it won't show too bad. But at least this way, I can feel, good about the fact that I took the time and got my scripture in where it needed to go. Now, I'm doing the same kind of thing for my week 19 scripture because, again, I was extremely busy. Look at this one that I found online. I love black and white anyway, and it may be not coming across good on the screen, but it says, as long as you know that God is for you, it doesn't matter who is against you. Now, obviously, this is a different translation of the scripture that says, and we know, I think it says, and we know, I don't have the other one, but it says, and we know if God is for us, who can be against us? And I love this verse. I remember teaching this verse to teenagers in my youth group, and I used to explain to them this way, and I want to see if this makes sense to you. Another thing for us to talk about in the comments. The key word in this verse, a lot of times people think, or the key section is, most people think, God is for us, so who can be against us? But for me, the key section in this is if. And here's what I mean by that. It says, if God is for us, who can be against us? The part that sometimes we forget is that God is for us. We stick to that if word and go, is he really? We kind of get stuck on that if. If we can ever make ourselves understand that, yes, he is, not oh, will he be for us, in this instance, or is he going to be here for me now? No, the answer is he is. So if we can understand that if he is, if you believe, if you know, if you're convinced that God is for you, then no one can be against you. No power, no principality, nothing can come against you. I used to try to teach that to my teenagers because I would be like, you've got to understand that he is for you. Because sometimes we forget. Sometimes we think, I've heard people say, I'm angry at God. Well, I wouldn't be angry at my best friend. Of course we get frustrated, but I certainly wouldn't shut him out, And I know people who've done that over the years, and that just scares me. If we can remember that God is for us, nothing and no one can come against us. It's that if part, if we remember. I love that. I actually love how these look, and I think this is going to remind me of this time in my life when I was so busy that these are the way I did my scripture journaling, and I love them, and that's 2 weeks right there. So again, I apologize. I just totally forgot that not everybody is a member of the Facebook group. I don't know why I forgot that, but I did. So from now on, I'll make sure if I have to kind of pause before I do the next verse, I'll make sure I do a little video telling you. I used to do that, but I just totally forgot about it. So forgive me, please. I'm asking for your forgiveness on that. But here's week 18 and week 19. Week 19's verse is Romans 8:31 and 18 is 8:28. And then 20 is on its way. I'm going to film that video right now, and I will be caught up, except for, if anybody can remember, I do have 1 week back here that I didn't do. Where is it? This one. Look at this blank page. And I do have to go back and do that one. And I just am not inspired by it. I don't know. And I guess I could do something like this. But for some reason, I feel like I don't want to do this for that verse. I feel like it's kind of become a challenge for me. So I will come back to 13 and do it at another time. But we're going to head into verse 20. And I hope you guys can get caught up. If you were behind, I apologize. It's my fault. If you're not a member of the Facebook group and you want to be, so you never miss out for sure on the scriptures, it is Hide His Word in My Heart. It is linked below, and there is a file there, or a document, that has all of the weeks listed. And I've had some people ask me where to find the weeks. That's where they're listed consecutively there for you with the date and what the verses were. So if you're looking to catch up with us, that's how you do it. All right, guys, thanks again. I appreciate your understanding. You guys are always so great to me. I will talk to you shortly as we do the week number 20. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.